Good afternoon and welcome to the Joy Show. This is the place where we honor you, the individual. We want to speak to people about their life, their journey, what's happening, what's going on. And joy for me is an acronym for just one you. Everyone is unique and special. So I just love honoring that and sharing those stories. Well, let's begin today with the land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation and peace, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet on these sacred lands. We thank the generations of people who have taken care of the land for thousands of years. We recognize our oneness, we realize our history, and we choose to create a new reality. We are one. Miigwech. Well, today I have my marvelous guest, Gino Walker, back. She was with me last week and she's back again today because, frankly, we could not finish a conversation about living in oneness in 1 hour. Well, maybe we can't even finish it in another hour, but we're going to give it a shot. It's going to be great. Gino began singing at an early age, and maybe my producer can find one of her songs and play a little clip. She is a remarkable performer, a remarkable woman, and she is currently the music production director at the Universal Spirit Center located in San Diego. So she brings all kinds of things, and it is her mission to lift and shift the world through song and word to joyfully live her journey. Woo! And she's doing it. She is my sweet friend, and I'm so grateful. And welcome, Gino Walker.
Woo, woo, woo.
And I love your cap. It says
Good. It's so good to see you, my friend, again.
I know. Back to back. I know it's the best. So we were talking about living in oneness, and
Yes.
tomorrow is International Day of Peace.
Ah,
And with unity, it is the day of prayer. So tomorrow I'm going to be doing a meditation in the morning at 10 a.m. Eastern
nice.
time to just bring people into that peace and into that place of meditation and prayer to really honor an idea of creating peace. And I think when we're living in oneness, we actually do we do become peaceful.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your journey to that place of oneness, that going into the heart and going, yeah, 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 this is what I need to do.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because as we shared last week, one of the ministries that I have here in San Diego is our racial equality project,
Yes.
and that whole ministry has been about bringing awareness to the systemic racism and inequalities that run about throughout our culture, throughout
Yeah.
our world. And so, beginning to understand, beginning to become aware is one of
Mhm.
the very big steps
It
of
is.
just really stepping into this awareness, whether it's the oneness within yourself, the oneness that you hold with the world, the
Yep.
oneness that you hold in your culture and in your community. All of these things come about. And a lot of times we're just roaming through our day.
Yeah.
We're just roaming through our day. And the more I've found myself that I become aware of the things that are running within me, things that come up that sometimes disturb me, that catch me in a whoop, 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 got my head spinning.
There are a few of those around, aren't there?
It's not always comfortable, but
Mhm.
one thing for sure is that if I continue to be aware, if I continue to understand and notice what's happening within myself, then it gives me an opportunity to step back and look at how I'm showing up in the world
Yeah.
and how what I think is showing up in the world.
Nice. Well, and I mean, that idea of thinking is so important. I'm teaching the class, change your thinking, change your life on Wednesdays, and it really is. In order to live a more joyful life, we must be aware. And I think that's one of the challenges that we have because for me, oh, good, we got one of your songs coming up soon. Okay. Maybe what we'll do, Deja, is use that as we're gonna go into the break, play her song, we'll go into the break, and then we'll talk about her magnificence afterward. Well, we'll be talking about it anyway. But the idea, the world is really in a flux at the moment. The change is creating a lot of chaos and upset. White men aren't very happy, I've noticed. But then a lot of people are happy, and somebody I heard somebody say the other day, someone was complaining about how they were being treated, and it's like everybody's giving me a hard time, and I'm expected to know all kinds of different things, and I don't even know what to do, and life is rough. Nah, 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 whine, 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 right? And the person listened patiently and said, they were talking about the system is all screwed up, and the woman they were speaking to said, but you guys created the system. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, you can't blame me. It was, and I get it. I understand it because the change is so vast and it's happening, at a pace that a lot of people their heads are spinning. What's with the non-binary stuff, and what's with the, you know, this indigenous stuff, and everything's in an upheaval. And I think back to when the Berlin Wall fell.
Okay.
That was such a shocking thing that happened when I turn on the news. I don't do that anymore. I don't get shocked. I'm too old to be shocked. I'd end up dead or something. But I turn on the news. I turn on CNN, and there's the wall literally coming down, and I was like,
Wow.
in my lifetime that happened, and I never believed it would,
Yes.
but it happened in my lifetime.
Yes.
And so when we look at the world, yeah, it's changing. And COVID was like this bullet point
Yes.
that went, okay, everybody, we're doing it different now. And there's so many people who want to go back to what was before, and we can't go back. So we've got to
I don't
learn.
want to go back.
I don't want to go back. I'll bet you don't want to go back.
I mean, it is. The things that have happened that I think, in a way, have been helping the change to take
Mhm.
place.
Yep.
But granted, yes, we are seeing that. Like you said, when you're seeing the wall come down,
We
that
are.
that
Yeah.
that didn't just happen by happenstance.
No, it didn't.
There were people that were advocating. And so we're recognizing that now, okay, you become aware of what's happening, but then also um, being able to advocate for new rules and laws that help support all living a life that
Yeah.
one can be happy and free in.
Yes.
And so we're in this space that, so if you're not aware of what's happening, I saw this clip on YouTube. It was so ridiculous that all I could do was laugh, but it showed me again, when you're oblivious to something, you would be able to make a statement like this. So I have been participating in the news more than I ever have before, due to our election.
Election coming up. It's a news
Yes,
cycle. I,
yes.
I get
I've,
I get
I've,
bits and pieces.
I've been a full participant, and my practice is to practice from a space of love. That
Good.
when I start to want to yell back at the TV, then it's time to turn the station. Then I'm not giving love to anybody. I'm not giving love to anybody.
That brick that sits on your little table beside you, don't throw it.
I know I'm out of balance when that happens.
When I pick up that brick to throw at my TV, I know I'm done.
I'm
Time
not
to turn off the
loving.
news.
I don't see no love. I don't know nothing about peace. They wrong. I'm right. It's just all turned upside down.
But that's a great statement. They're wrong, I'm right. And I think that's what's causing all of the
Oh,
the craziness at the moment, because it's like, but I want things my way.
yeah. And
I,
fear.
I like them my way.
Yeah. Fear, I think fear is the number one.
It is,
Fear
yeah.
of losing something that you've known. And so there's
And
been
you will.
a conversation here in the States about, I think he's in the Senate or running for the Senate, Mark Robinson, a
Okay.
Black man that has made some very upsetting statements surrounding slavery, that he wished slavery was back, that he would like to own some slaves, that he is a black Nazi. And so they have that clip, and then they're talking to other people, and they go to this little lady, little white lady, and the interviewer asked her, well, do you feel as though that slavery has anything to do with how Black people have been treated or are treated now? And she said no. I mean, when you think about it, they had a place to stay. Sure, they had to work, but everybody needs to work. Some of the people that owned them were mean, but not everybody was mean. They had food. And I thought, wow, to be so just unaware that her
Head
thinking
in the
was that,
sand.
I don't see how it was so bad for them. And so then the interviewer says, well, they couldn't own property. And she said, well, they wouldn't know what to do with it. So, it's, I would like to think that that's not a current thinking, but it is.
It is for some people, yeah.
It is for some people.
Yeah.
And it's like, before I would have been really upset with her, but I realized that she is so unaware of who
Yeah.
she is, what she is, that to spend time trying to educate her is, in my
Not
world
wasting
right now, it's not worth it. It's to spend time with people that understand there's no blame, shame, but understand that we have an opportunity to shift things, to
Oh,
create,
yeah.
but we have to be aware. We have to be aware. And I don't know if I shared this with you, but I guess 3 years ago we were still in the pandemic, and I was doing a show on transgenders,
Yes. Mhm.
and it was really my first interaction, not my first interaction with transgender, but with pronouns. I didn't
Okay.
understand the premise of them, and
Yeah.
so she gave me her pronouns, and there was another person on the panel. They gave me their pronouns, and somehow one or two of the people dropped out. So it ended up where she was the only one that had pronouns.
Yeah.
And she blasted me. And I was like, I don't get it. I was like, I thought I was supporting you. And she said, well, not if I'm the only one that's in the conversation with pronouns, then it puts me out front. And I said, there's just a lot of things I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I said, she worked with part of the LGBTQ community here.
Yeah.
And it helped me create, along with them, I had the transgender community come in and give a talk, give some explanation, explain.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm ignorant here. I'm ignorant. I'm very clear. I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant about pronouns. And so I want to learn.
Yeah.
And, I've always said, I think one of the other things that stops people from sharing, from learning, is trying to be politically correct when you don't even know. Like it's like I don't know. I can't be politically correct because I don't even know what's correct.
Exactly.
And
Well, it's
so
one of
to
the
have
things that
that,
yeah, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Go
no,
ahead.
I'm just saying, to have that barrier, it hurt my feelings that I hurt someone. First, it hurt my feelings because I thought, oh, you on top of it. Then once I got over myself, I realized that my feelings were hurt because I hurt someone else's feelings.
Yeah.
And but then I also know that in order for me not to do that and to grow, I gotta ask the ignorant questions. And so
Yeah,
I
you
would
do.
say, look, this question may be ignorant, and if it's insulting, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. So
Yeah.
this is what I need.
And this conversation is for the uneducated.
Yeah.
Like, like we can have, I did a show, a few months back on the New Thought Media Network, Transgender Awareness. And I
Mm.
had two trans people on the show to talk about their journey of transitioning, etc. And I know when it comes to the pronouns, I now have my pronouns on everything that I do, um, because I want people who are non-binary to feel comfortable coming into my space. Like, I'm not concerned about it one way or the other. At
Yeah.
my age, it's like, I've never used them in the past, but I do use them now because I do have an understanding of what that means. But I also understand that if I'm using my pronouns, what I'm saying to somebody out there who doesn't know me, there's a comfort for them to go, oh, you know about this. There's
Right.
an awareness. And so I'm honoring, everyone who, and when you think about it, it's so funny because there really aren't only two sexes, male,
No.
female. That's not the case. And yet we've made it so it's so.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
like we've made white, Christian, English as right.
Right. Right. Yeah. The majority.
They're
The
not, but that's the
chosen.
thing.
I know.
Christianity is not a majority religion,
No,
probably.
it's not.
And also, white people are not the majority of the population in the world.
Exactly.
Who do we think
And
we
here in
are anyway?
America, we're all mutts.
I
It
was
must
listening to
be
an
up.
interview. Yeah, I was listening to an interview. I can't remember the woman's name. Beautiful, older woman, probably my age. Um, but but she was sitting down with three women, one black, one mixed race, and one, I can't remember the other woman. So anyway, they're chit chatting and this and that and the other thing. And then she goes, well, who here is mixed race? Like who here, I think it was mixed race, she said. And, the one woman put her hand up and she said, yeah, no, all of us. We all came from one black woman in Africa. That was the beginning, the birth of humanity is there. So the rest of us can, just sit back and stop our judging because we're all one. Anyway, it was really funny. They broke out laughing, going, "Oh my goodness," because they'd been talking about that all along.
Right.
That had been the conversation. And then when the question was asked, they quickly forgot it.
Yeah.
So it was a really sweet point where she just put a little button on that. But I mean, we're
Yeah.
learning, and I think the biggest thing, I read voraciously. So
Mm.
I've read, in fact, I read a book a little while ago by Olivia. Oh, shoot, I'm so good with names usually. Um, oh, I'll have to think about it later. But it's a science fiction type book,
Okay.
but based in Black history.
Mm.
So she is a Black woman today, married to a white man, and in the story that is,
Okay.
and she all of a sudden ends up in 1800 U.S. South,
Wow.
and she's at a riverbank, and there's a little black child, a little white child, excuse me, a little white child in the water, and she rescues and saves him.
Mm.
And then just guess what happens after that.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and she keeps flipping back and forth, and she doesn't know why it's happening.
Mm.
But all of a sudden, she'll be doing dishes, and then next thing she knows, she's in some slave quarters.
Wow.
Like it's a really remarkable book. I will remember the name of it. My daughter read it at school. It was one of her
Okay.
school books.
Okay.
Well, she went to a school that was, not predominantly white.
Well, and I guess they weren't banning all the books. It's
We don't ban
amazing.
books here.
Oh my goodness.
It's
I
bad
just
there.
saw a video clip of boxes, and I mean just huge boxes of books that they're banning. It's unfreaking believable. Any type of black activist, writer, banned. Um, uh, uh, Lewis and Clark banned. Um, I mean, it's so ridiculous the range that it's like if it's not Jesus,
Hmm.
Christian, white, it's banned. It's disgusting. We
It's
would
frightening.
This continues, we will raise a generation of people that are clueless,
Yeah.
clueless about the importance of cultures blending and being together. Um, it just there was a teacher showing it that it was just like my goodness, you couldn't even understand why,
Yeah.
you know. So that's powerful, that to reading takes you to a whole nother place.
Olivia Butler. And the
Ah,
book
oh,
and the book is Kindred.
I did not read it, but I am familiar with it. Yeah.
Kindred is a brilliant book. I read it so fast because I mean some of it was real hard, but painful hard, like
Mm-hmm,
hurt
mm-hmm.
the heart hard.
Yeah.
But I read all of this because I want to understand. I want to understand what's happened and then look at what's happening today and be able to look what is it that I need to do or be in order to shift what's going on. And what's happening in the US, frankly, frightens me.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking, there was a posting for a church and I think it might have been in Glendale, California or somewhere. I can't remember. It was California for sure. And
Okay.
I was looking at it, I was going, oh man, that would be awesome. And then, I said to Pierre, hey, want to move to the US? Blah, 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 blah. He was like, are you kidding me? I mentioned it to my daughter. She says, I ain't living there. It's like, are you kidding? I'm not going there. Have you heard the news lately? No, I'm choosing to ignore it. But that's the thing is that there is so much change going on down there. And what happens in the US often finds its way to filter into Canada.
Yes, you guys blanket us. Your beautiful, vast country just blankets over us, and um, you know we are literally waking up to the possibility that if we do not, if we do not make a stand for democracy, then this particular election, I feel that anybody that's of age to vote and can should
Better.
not be on the. I don't want to say should, but don't be on the sideline
So,
because
no, do some research,
yeah,
and
do some
follow your
research
heart, and yeah, and
and
vote
and you
consciously.
know yeah, and decide to make a vote because democracy is very much on the docket. And it was speaking of that, yesterday Oprah Winfrey hosted a virtual event. uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's on YouTube. And it was amazing. They had about over 400 people in the audience, but over 1,000 people um, streaming in.
Mhm.
And you had a lot of Hollywood that streamed in that she recognized. But one of the people she recognized first, and I hope I get her name correct, I think it's Jokeda, who organized Black Women for Kamala Harris.
Mm.
And it was her organization managed, I think it was 3 hours after Kamala Harris had been our sweet President Joe Biden passed the torch.
Yeah.
They organized over 44,000 women to come in. They were the first ones to get the ball rolling, to get donations
Yeah.
rolling, to get, and so and it spun off grassroots. Then you had white women for Kamala Harris do a Zoom. You had comedians for Kamala Harris, white men for Kamala Harris. So and now we're having a really strong Republicans for Kamala Harris.
The Republican base is really doing a dance at the moment, you know, the
Yeah,
way we do
because
it.
it has changed so drastically.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
literally you have mega and then you have Republicans.
Yeah.
Two totally different things. And so understanding that may not be all for the policies of Democrat, but what we all have in common is that we're for democracy.
And I think that's an important thing to consider is that we're working toward actually doing what we say we're doing, which is democracy. Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna go to a break, but we're gonna play one of your songs. I have no idea which one
Oh,
she picked. So
okay.
we're gonna play one of your songs. We're gonna go into a break, and oh,
Oh,
look at that beautiful woman. And
there.
then we'll be back just after that. You're watching the New Thought Media Network, and we'll be back.
Broken down and tired, living life on a merry-go-round. You can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gonna work it out. Ooh, mountain, we gonna work it out. Ooh, mountain. Now rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, high like the wave. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do another time again. For you, for you, for you, for you. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise you we'll take the world to the speed. Ooh, mountains, bring it to its feet. Ooh, mountains, and we'll rise up, high like the wave. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do another time again. For you, for you, for you, all we need it. Oh, and for that we have each other. For that we have each other. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. We will rise up, high like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache, and we'll rise 1,000, 1,000, and 1,000, and 1,000 times again. We'll rise.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And we're back. You're watching The Joy Show here on the New Thought Media Network. My guest's the remarkable Gino Walker, and we just took a brief little break and listened to her song, Rise Up, Let's Rise. That's what we're calling people do. Rise up in consciousness, in awareness, in understanding. Rise up.
Yeah,
So
I wish I could take full credit for that. I did not write that song. That's an Andrea Day song.
Oh, Andrea Day, she's so amazing. But I'll tell you, I had some little tears in my eyes because it's true. It's true. I love listening to you. Well, I just love you. So there you go. But the interesting thing for me is as I'm listening to that song, she chose the perfect song, given our topic and everything, because what makes me really sad is the way we treat each other. Not you and I, we're good.
No, we're good.
But it's the stuff we're really good. But it's the stuff that goes on, the way in which we cut each other and shame each other. And I think at some point in time, I would love for people to acknowledge, recognize that we're in this together. And if I hurt you, I have hurt me.
Yes.
It's like we're journeying. And as I don't watch the news. I didn't watch the debate. I never watch debates. Debates really, really frustrate me. I would be throwing a brick through my TV probably a minute in. And my biggest complaint, it's not so much the idiocy of some of the comments, but rather the throwing blame. So vote for me because, Gino, well, I wouldn't vote for her because, blah, blah, blah. She did this, she did that, she did, right? Like, this is what they do. They come on and they tell me everything the other person did that I should be mad about, but they never tell me what they're going to do. They never tell me why I should vote for them. And it was interesting. My daughter, she's a real big Kamala Harris fan. And she's 19, right?
Ah,
She's 19. So Kamala's reaching that group because
yes.
she's taking sort of weird snide comments and she's flipping them and going, she's just being with it. She's not getting angry. She's not, she's just sitting in it and smile. Like I saw little clips of her when Trump was talking about pets being eaten by immigrants. And the look on her face reminded me of when I was looking at my children when they were like 2 or 3, and they would do something really, really dumb, but so sweet because they're so little and they don't know any better.
Right.
That was her expression. Oh, you're just so unaware. You're just,
Well,
Wow. Keep talking. You just keep talking. I have nothing to say to that. You go ahead. And
you
she's
know,
brilliant. She really
she is
knows.
definitely brought a lot of, part of her slogan is joy. And
Mhm.
it was amazing that that was being attacked, that she was and is a very joyful person. But it's also the awareness that I did watch the debate, and which she did a phenomenal job, and I thought she
Mhm.
expressed, outside of maybe the first question, I thought she expressed what she was for, what her vision is for the country.
Yeah.
But it's also this thing, this I think sometimes this pass that some of the mega crowd is getting, that they're not aware of what they're talking about. And I believe that they are. I believe that they are aware. And we have to be aware not to. And I love, she said something yesterday that I was like, yes, that I'm for that. That resisting, we're not resisting anything,
Right.
we're fighting for.
We're moving forward. We're not going
You know,
back.
she talked about that we're fighting forward.
Forward.
We're fighting to go forward,
Yeah.
not to resist the past. And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what the fight that's happening for us to move forward in
Yeah.
equality, in being able to recognize that this world is so magnificent, so big, and so vast that there is plenty for everyone.
Yes, there is.
Everyone. I have often made the analogy that, there are so many different types of apples. I can't even count all the damn apples.
So
And
many
I'm not
I
upset with
haven't even heard of. I went to an apple picking last year and I was going, say what?
you.
I never even heard of that. It's not in my grocery store. I never see that apple in my
You
grocery
know?
store. But yeah, you're right. There's lots of them.
There's so many. I mean, if you go to any fruit, if you go into nature, there's so much. It's bountiful. And yet we have been taught scarcity. And so
Here.
the scarcity, the fear that someone or something can take what's ours. And in that same breath, we become the ones that want to be the takers,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
And
know?
that idea of taking, it's like it that is really truly a fear thing, right? That's a whole lack model that I have to take from somebody else. It's same issue with power. Like,
Yes,
each one of us is so powerful, but it's an
yes,
inner power. The
yes.
minute I try to take yours, the minute I try to diminish you, or the minute I sort of stomp you, I'm not being powerful, I'm being weak.
Exactly.
I'm being weak.
Yeah, exactly.
It's coming from fear, and it's destructive, not only to you, but to me as well.
So I really want to share with people that we all have a mission in what's being called. I don't care where we are in the world.
Yep, I agree.
And we are seeing that it's happening all over the world, almost
It is.
instantaneously.
Yeah.
The world is involved in this evolution of higher consciousness, of,
Yeah.
of this opportunity to live in a higher frequency and dimension. And
Mhm.
so I know that us that are light workers that are doing the work here
Yeah,
to help that shift take place, to
yeah.
keep, I will speak for myself, to keep myself shifted into a higher frequency more than not. I'm not there all the time,
No,
but
me either, but it's a work in progress,
yeah,
and it is an everyday job.
and that's part of it. It's part of it. It's, even the most beautiful tree has a season where all of its leaves, or most of the leaves, it becomes barren because it's going through a process to
Yeah,
be able to generate even more of the beauty of
exactly.
what it is.
It
And
That's beautiful, I love that.
that's where we are right now. We are in this process of of coming together to generate more of who we are, and to have this perspective that my more doesn't step on you. Doesn't make you
Yeah,
less than.
doesn't
Doesn't
need
make you
to.
less than.
Yeah.
I don't have to be afraid that if you don't want to do my more, that then, oh, I got to stop you because, that whole paradigm of thinking, which is the old way of thinking, we are literally being lifted out of that for those that are willing to participate. And for those that don't want to participate, more people are leaving the planet right now. And I always say, good, you're helping us on
Yeah.
the other end. We need that
Well,
help.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I think that's, that for me is sort of the crux of it. If those of us who are willing to be that light in the world, um, it doesn't take very many of us to tip the scale. That is the good news. Like
Yes.
if we can tip that scale, and I know what we're doing here on the New Thought Media Network is a step in that
Yes.
direction, because Robert's vision when he created this is bringing together all like-minded people to share a vision and a sense of possibility, and we can do and be so much more than
Yes.
we've done so far. And that's one of the things that really excites me, and why I love being part of this network, is just being able to share stories and people who are living life in a way that is supportive of the well-being of all of humanity, all of the world, in fact, and the universe. It's like we're putting an energy or a vibration that's very high, and I
Yes.
think that's so important. So yeah, you're there, my friend. You are there.
We are there. We are
We
there.
are there. Yeah.
And, I love the community here because
Mhm.
one of the things that as we start to elevate, religion, spirituality has to have a shift.
Yeah.
It can't be the them and the us's or the they and the it and the, you know,
No,
just
it all
like
comes together.
once again, fruit nature is the most simple thing that, an orange doesn't hate a tangerine. It
Yeah.
it, it doesn't care. It allows the tangerine to have its expression as the tangerine allows the orange to have its expression.
Exact. I love that. I've never thought of using fruit as an example of abundance. But you are so creative. I love it. I love that so much because that's exactly right.
It's
You go into the grocery store and you've got a tray full of apples.
yes,
Like this one's this and this and this, and they're
yes.
all different.
They're all different.
And
They
none of
have
them are like,
flavors.
excuse me, go sit in the back because I want to be up front. I want to be the first one. If you're first, you're going to get 8, so maybe not. But I mean,
It
that's
is,
that's the thing.
you know,
That's a great analogy because all people deserve to be respected. All people deserve to be loved. All people, I don't care who you are, you deserve to be loved,
exactly.
and you should be allowed to give your gift into a world that desperately needs it.
Well, the world wouldn't be what it is without it.
Exactly.
I have shifted in our history that we share every Sunday to showing how all different cultures have helped to create this world. And
Yeah.
so we're in Hispanic Heritage Month. It just started
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
from September the 15th to October the 15th. And so looking at how our Hispanic, our Mexican brothers and sisters have contributed, our Latinas have the Latinos have contributed to our world, that's where popcorn came from.
That's cool. I had some of that last night.
Popcorn. And Luis Miramar Luis Miramartin, I think is his pronunciation of his last name.
Yeah.
He is called the father of the pill because he was one of the chemists that helped create the first strand in the contraceptive for women for birth control pill.
Wow.
And so it's like everybody, it's not just this one hole that people have, and,
Yeah.
like, oh, they've created this, they create, everyone, every culture
Everybody's participated.
has participated. The
Yeah.
world would not be the same if not. And so it really, it inspires me. It just warms my heart to become aware of more and more things.
Yeah.
Like, I think last week I found out that our Chinese brothers and sisters were the first to create the toilet paper.
Mm.
Like,
And they built our railroads.
yes, they did. Yes, they did. And
Mm.
so, just recognizing that we want to have this blanket statement, and especially here in the States, we want to act like, that the history of everybody, and that America's not a melting pot of what do I call this? We're all blended, mixed in there. We're all mutts coming from everywhere.
Well, and you know what's fascinating is, when you talk about, like, when I hear somebody talking about immigration and complaining about immigration, I just sit back and go, well, you wouldn't be here if there wasn't immigration.
I mean,
Because unless you're indigenous, you would not
exactly,
be here.
exactly.
This is not your land. You came,
Not at all.
you're
Not,
planted here. So whether it was by choice or by force, you were planted here. You are an immigrant.
yeah,
And I mean, I was born here, but my father's parents were immigrants.
yeah,
My mother's parents, immigrants.
yeah.
That's not so far back. My
No,
husband, it's way back. It's like 1600 or something when
wow,
his
wow.
first people came over. But it's like we are the ones that really have stolen so
Oh,
much.
oh,
And so now we got to sit back and go, how do we choose to live together? The past is the past. It's done. Can't change it.
no. The
I mean,
house
there's
has been
times
built.
I'd love to change the past, but haven't figured out how.
The house has been built. How do we create a foundation now that is supportive?
Yeah.
What new studs do we put in? What new
Yeah.
panels do we lay that will support us recognizing? I
Yeah. New
realize that,
reality.
yeah, we can't change everybody's thinking,
Oh, no, not at all.
but the
Yeah.
energy, I love my mediums, and Bashar talked about this pendulum back in 2015, that the pendulum of the light was swinging the highest it's ever been. And so I thought, like, okay, we're gonna be on the good ship, on the good side. But with that comes all of this resistance,
Yeah.
and so we're still in that. The
And
high
we
is
will be for a
very
while.
high. The frequency of the high vibration is very high, but there is a lot of resistance
Yeah.
not to tip over. And we're going to have that. I don't know if I'll be here to see it, but I'm going to do my part.
Yeah. And, I think back to, what happened in Czechoslovakia when, they decided to go with democracy and get rid of the communism, when the wall fell in
Berlin.
Berlin, and then what's happened in Russia. So when you look at all of that, when those changes happened, it threw those countries into real severe struggle all the way around. However, that then creates a whole new energy. It reminds me, I use the analogy of spring cleaning.
Mm,
Because when you do spring cleaning, like, you're making a mess.
yeah.
You got to take everything out of the cupboards. You're like, your place is a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And then you sort out, don't need this, don't need that. This works. This is great. What do I polish this up? Okay, now put it back, and put it back in a way that maybe it'll be easier to find. And then, so you create a mess, which is what we're in right now. We're in this
Yes.
mess, and it's going to last for a while because we're trying to find our way through it. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going, but I used to do it like this. So like this should be the way. And
Yeah.
we get stuck in that tunnel vision of what we know. We're in a space We don't know. I better plug in my computer. I didn't realize it was unplugged.
It's blinking. Oh, I still
Yep.
see it.
There we go. Phew. Luckily, it gives me a notification. You're going to lose power in a moment. I had it outside on my deck because I was working outside, and then it
Ah,
got so hot, and I couldn't get any shade, so I had to bring it back in. But we're in a time of huge change, and there's no point in resisting it, and there's no point in trying to recreate what was. We now have to be in a state of, let me go within and find out now what, because the now what is very different, and everything we do is going to be different.
yes.
And yeah, it's hard. It's hard for people to go, but I like it this way. Well, that's great. It's changing. So get over it and get on with
It's
it.
really interesting that people always talk about, it was really great back then. But when they were back then, it wasn't all that damn great.
No, they were complaining constantly about this, that, and the other. You can't believe what the government did.
Yeah, and so the unknown, which is where we're moving into.
Yeah.
And I think for me, not only moving more into the unknown, but also moving into the invisible.
Yeah.
The invisible. I was Wednesday. We had a chakra dance class, and I really went in, and in the last part of it, as they were taking us through this guided meditation, I felt this light that came through me, and they
Yeah.
were talking about you need to follow the path, and I realized that I am the path.
Yes, you are.
That the path is within me, within every cell and atom of my body. The
Yeah.
path is there. And even in the appearance that I may take a step that does not go along with what I may think I should go, or how
Yeah.
the path will adjust to me. It
Yes.
will make new ways and open up new avenues. But that's a whole new way of living. You know,
Yeah.
we want to know everything. And even in our attempts to know everything, we still don't know everything.
We know nothing. I wake up every day going, I know nothing. So what do I get to learn today? And I'm always learning new things. I think that's, the real journey that we're on is to take each day for what it is. I was commenting to my husband, he's been really busy with work.
Mm,
And so we were out, I think it was maybe when we went for our walk last night, and he was exhausted. He'd been working really hard, and he was just kind of trying to get the dog to do what it was supposed to do. And she's
yeah.
5 months old, right? She does whatever she wants.
She's
Oh no,
playing.
she's 6 months old today. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So now she's 6 months old. So, but she's, and she's big, she's 50 pounds, she's a big girl. And he's, trying to get her to do whatever. And I said, sweet. And he's going, well, I'm thinking about what I need to do. And I'm thinking about what needs to be done. And I went, would you do me a favor? I said, would you just stop all of that and just notice where you are and just be here, because your thinking is making you miserable, and
yeah,
you don't need to think about that stuff until it's time to do that stuff.
yeah,
I think that's one of the things that really catches us up, is that we're so busy thinking about, well, I need to do this and I need to do that and I gotta go here and I gotta go, and our mind is just blah 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 blah, all this baloney going on up there. And then we get all caught up going, I can't get anything done. Like, my mind is all over the place. Well, it's because you're focusing on garbage. It's like the Buddhists say, pain is inevitable. Suffering, however, optional. And
yeah.
that thinking is what creates the suffering.
Yes,
It's like,
yes.
oh my gosh, it's amazing. But anyway, so we're down to our last 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. How time flies when we're having fun.
It really does. So what I would like to ask you now is, what do you think is the most important takeaway that you'd like to see people walk away with when it comes to what we've talked about today?
So I'm going to hit three things, and I wanted to make sure, and
Yeah.
I wrote them down
Oh, good.
because I really think it is important. And we've kind of touched on all the first two. I don't think the third one, but I know we run out of time. So the first one is becoming aware.
Yeah.
Becoming aware of who and what you are in this world, becoming aware of the inequalities that are around you. If
Mm,
you are a person that says, yes, I am inclusive, and then you look at your family and friends and it's only one a culture, then you're not inclusive. So understand that.
yeah.
Go to different restaurants, start to reach out. So becoming aware is super important.
Yep. I agree.
And number two is, if you're passionate about something, to help change the laws, become an advocate for something that you believe in, that you can help change the laws for that. You can help volunteer with organizations that are doing some of the things that you believe. Start to participate. It's so easy to sit in the chair and talk about what should be done. So become an advocate. Participate in the things that um, you say you want to see changed.
Yeah.
And last but not least is to, once again, start practicing inclusivity. Start practicing. I started taking Spanish on Duolingo to help me be able to interact. I'm still a little puppy, but I'm consistent with that.
Yeah.
We take people to different restaurants so that you can taste the culture of different restaurants and understand the different seasonings and things. So, if you're going to have inclusivity, you have to do something outside of what you're doing. So start a practice. It could be going to different restaurants, or going to different places to have different drinks, or going to the library, reading different books about different cultures.
Yeah.
Just start something that opens up your mind
Yeah.
in another way. And with
Beautiful.
all of that, the foundation that holds it all is to continue to love yourself where you are on this journey, because we are all doing the best we can. We
It's true.
appreciate
It's
you
true.
being here. And without you, the world wouldn't be the same.
That's exactly right. I just bought a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, a hoodie that on the front says "You are enough." And
Mm.
on the back, it says, "Dear person behind me," or
Oh,
dear person, whatever, dear,
yeah.
I can't remember what it says exactly. And then it's like, "The world is better because you're in it. Love the person in front of you."
Yes. Love
And I,
that.
yeah, and I love that. I love that because people need to hear that more. Even when
Yes.
I'm in a grocery store, I talk to people all the time. Drives my
Yes.
mother crazy. It's like I want to, like, I'll comment on people's hair and what they're wearing, and
Yes.
it doesn't matter that I don't know them. My mailman comes to the door today. I mean, how many people know their mailman,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Comes to the door today, and he had a package I had to sign for, and he said, "How's your shoulder doing?"
Ah,
Right? Like, he knew my
yeah.
fractured shoulder because he'd been here, he's seen me grab mail before, and it's like, I think we have an opportunity to learn about each other and to be with each other, and I think that's what we're all here for, and I love you.
I love you more.
I
Thank
love
you.
you most.
Mwah.
Mwah. Well, you've been watching The Joy Show on the New Thought Media Network and my beautiful friend Gino Walker. So be you, be great, and be marvelous, and know that you are enough. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time when my guest is Martha Creek. Bye for now. Stick around.